Today, we are going to be talking about how to stop taking everything personal in your life. Now, let me put this straight to you. Have you ever received a message and then because the person did not use an emoji in the message, you immediately thought, are they really angry with me? Someone walked and then passed you without the person greeting you. Guess what? Immediately, it made you to just start thinking, did I do something wrong to this person? If someone gives you a short response when you ask them something, and then the person left you or remained silent, guess what? You suddenly start to replay the conversation that you had with the person in your head. Now, what did I say? You are asking yourself. Did I offend them? You are asking yourself. Why are they treating me so differently? You are not asking yourself. Maybe someone doesn't invite you to somewhere that you actually think that you were supposed to be invited by them because of your relationship that you really have with them, or because of your personality, okay? And then suddenly you started wondering whether they don't really like you anymore. Now, if you have ever done this, then I want you to hear something that is very important today. And this is it. It is not everything that happens around you that is always, about you. And learning that can really bring to you an incredible amount of peace in your life, because sometimes the thing that is really hurting you is not even what happened, but it is rather the story that you have really created about what happened. Okay, so let us talk about that with the following points that I am going to be sharing with you right now. Okay, point one. Now listen, something happened and then you just gave it a meaning sharp, sharp. Imagine you greeting someone, good morning, and they don't, respond to you. Immediately, you see, that is the event that took place. That is all that you actually know about the event. But then your mind starts working. They ignored me. They don't respect me. Maybe they don't like me at all. What have I really done to them to deserve this kind of treatment from them? Now, I want you to notice what happened. There was an event, isn't it? Of course it is. And then your mind was the one that created an explanation immediately about the event, isn't it? Now, let me tell you this. The problem that we often, treat our explanation as if it were a fact. But if I may ask you, have you ever thought of it this way? But what if they didn't hear you at all? What if they were really distracted at that moment with some other things taking place? What if they were having a terrible day? What if they were really thinking about something, completely unrelated to you at that moment or point in time? And so you don't know. And that is the point, because the truth is this: you can actually experience something without you really knowing exactly what it truly means. So learning to separate the event from the story that you have attached it to can really, completely change the way that you experience people. Okay, now let's go to point two. You are not the center of everyone's day. This might really sound harsh, but it is actually freeing. And you really have to be conscious that other people are really busy living their own lives, and so they are also thinking about their own bills to pay, their own, they are also thinking about their own families. They are thinking about their own relationships. They are also thinking about their own problems. They are also thinking about their own dreams and then goals in life. They are also thinking about their own insecurities. They are also thinking about, their own responsibilities. And so you may be thinking about something that someone said to you 3 hours ago, while, they may have completely, forgotten about the conversation a long time ago. And that is not an insult, trust me, because it is rather freedom, because it means that you don't have to constantly monitor yourself through, everybody else's eyes. Okay? Now, you don't have to wonder what everyone thinks about you, because most people are already busy thinking about what themselves, and they don't even have enough time to do that. So you should give yourself the permission, to stop assuming that every reaction that happens around you is always connected to you. Okay? Now, let us talk about point 3. Don't turn everyone's mood into your own identity. Someone is having a bad day, and so they are physically and then mentally exhausted at that moment or point in time, which have really influenced them at that moment to speak harshly to you. And because you did not know about their current personal battles at that moment, guess what? It means it now makes you to immediately think that, oh, maybe I am not good enough for them. No, my dear friend, the truth is this: someone else's mood should not be the measurement of your worth in life. Why? Because someone can actually be irritated and you can still be worthy of their respect. Someone can, misunderstand you, and you can still know who you are. Someone can, dislike you, and you don't suddenly become unlikable to them. So what I am about to tell you right now is so important, and so you really have to be serious about it. And this is it: you should always treat other people's opinions as an information, because their opinions are not your identity at all, except you allow their opinions, to be your identity. And that is why you have to listen when necessary. Okay? Now, learn when it is also appropriate. But mind you, you don't have to hand over to, someone else the opportunity to now define you. Okay? Now, let's talk about point 4. Sometimes people are responding to their own pain in life. Here is another perspective for you. People don't always treat us according to who we are, but sometimes they really treat us, according to what they are carrying at that moment instead. And so you see someone who is stressed, the person is impatient. Someone who is insecure may become, so competitive. Someone who is hurting may become so defensive. Someone, who does not trust easily may misunderstand your intentions. And that does not really mean that you should start accepting mistreatment from people. Absolutely not. But understanding this can really help you, to avoid carrying, unnecessary emotional weight or burden to yourself. And so you can say that behavior was not okay, but it does not have to become a story about my words. Okay? Now, that is a powerful distinction, isn't it? Point five. But do not use this as an excuse to ignore real problems. Now, I want to make something very clear for us. Not taking things personally does not really mean that you have to start allowing people to disrespect you anyhow, like what I used to call see you finish or walk all over you. Okay? Now, if someone repeatedly insults you, manipulates you, disrespects your boundaries, or intentionally hurts you, do not sit there and say, Dora told me this, Dora told me that. Maybe I am just, taking it personal. Because sometimes something is really going on wrong and you have to take note of that. Mind you, the goal is not for you to now become emotionally numb, but the goal is for you to now become emotionally wise. So you should rather ask yourself this question: is this actually about me, or am I just assuming that it is all about me? And if it is all about you, then you should rather ask yourself this question: what can I really learn or do about it? And you know what? When you do that, that is a proof that you are matured. I mean, you are a matured person. Point six, stop reading people's mind. Okay? One of the biggest reasons that is really making us, to take things personally is because we often think that we know exactly what other people are thinking about us. And so if someone looks at you, then you just interpret it immediately. Maybe they think that I look stupid. If someone does not respond to you, then you immediately jump into the conclusion that they are ignoring you. If someone disagrees with you, then you immediately jump into conclusion, oh, they do not respect me. But you cannot read people's mind accurately because you are just doing what? Guessing. And the dangerous thing about guessing is that your brain can turn a possibility into a certainty. Okay? And so instead of you saying to yourself, they don't like me, please try to say instead, I don't know why they responded to me that way. I think this is a better mentality to have. And so you see that little sentence, it creates space between what happened and what you just assume. And sometimes the honest truth is this: that is exactly the space where peace actually lives. Point seven, ask yourself, what else could this really mean? This is one of the most useful questions that you can learn. For example, if something happens and your first interpretation is negative, please pause for a moment and then ask yourself, what else could this really mean? They didn't reply, yes. Maybe they are just busy. They gave you a short answer. Maybe they are just tired at that moment. They didn't invite you. Maybe the gathering was small to be. They disagreed with you. Maybe they genuinely see things differently from you. This does not mean that you should start giving excuses for everyone, but it simply means that you are not giving yourself the permission to now consider more than just one explanation to what really happened, because sometimes, you know, Your first interpretation is not always the truth, but it is just the first interpretation. Okay? Point 8. Don't make rejection a verdict on your value. This is very, very important because if someone doesn't choose you, if you don't get the job, if someone does not return your feelings, if someone does not want to be your friend anymore, if we are being honest with ourselves, then the truth is, in reality, if someone does that to you, it hurts so badly. And always remember that since you are human, you are allowed to feel disappointed, but you really need to know that rejection does not automatically mean I'm not good enough, because sometimes it means this wasn't right for me. Sometimes it means they wanted something different. Sometimes it also means, maybe this opportunity wasn't really meant for me. And sometimes it simply means no. Okay? A no can hurt without it becoming an identity. And that is exactly why you don't have to turn one person's decision into a permanent judgment about yourself. Okay? Now, let us go to point 9. Learn the difference between feedback and then attack. Let us, take for instance, if someone tells you you need to improve on this or that, your first instinct may be to become defensive and then aggressive to the person. But please pause for a moment and then ask yourself this question: is there something useful here for me? If there is, learn from it. If there is not, then you should just let it go. Let it be, because it is not every criticism that truly deserves your emotional energy, okay? But not every criticism deserves, your energy, your anger either. And so sometimes someone can really point out something about you genuinely that you really need to work on. And the truth is, growth really requires being able to hear uncomfortable things about yourself without you immediately turning them into personal attacks. Now, let us go to the 10th point. Your peace does not have to depend on everyone else understanding you. Okay? Now, this is one of the hardest lessons you can explain to yourself perfectly, and someone can still misunderstand you. You can have good intentions and someone can still interpret them differently, and I know it hurts. You can tell the truth, and someone can still choose not to believe in you, and I know it hurts. And at some point, you have to accept that you cannot control, everyone else's interpretation of you. So your response is to act with what? Integrity. Therefore, you really have to be what? Honest to yourself. Correct yourself whenever you are wrong, because nobody is perfect and nobody is an island. Apologize when necessary. Set boundaries when necessary. And then let people have their different opinions. But as for you, you don't have to keep on chasing after every misunderstanding. Okay? Now, let us go to point 11. Build a strong relationship with yourself. Here is where everything comes together. The more secure you become in who you are, the less every outside reaction controls you. And so when you know your values, when you know your intentions, when you know that you are, when you know what you are actually working on, when you know your weaknesses, when you know the strengths you have, so when someone now criticizes you, you can now listen without you collapsing. When someone dislikes you, you can be disappointed, but without you actually losing who you truly are. When someone misunderstands you, you can clarify things without you begging for what? Their approval. And you know what? That is really an emotional strength whereby you are no longer caring about their different opinion towards you, and you are now caring, but then without you losing yourself or losing who you truly are. So the next time that something happens and then you feel within you that you want to start taking it personally, please pause for a moment and then have a bite of this truth pie, which is don't immediately what react. But then ask yourself these three questions that are very, very important. What actually happened? What story am I telling myself about what happened? What else could this really mean for me? Are you seeing exactly what I am seeing right now? Those three questions can really stop you from turning a small moment into a huge emotional experience for yourself that is going to weigh you down. And sometimes you will discover that this really wasn't all about me. Other times you will discover that actually I really need to address this in my life. Either way, you are responding from clarity instead of what? Assumption. Okay? Now, I want you to remember this. Not everything is a reflection of you, because someone's silence is not always rejection as you may think. Someone's mood is not always your fault. Someone else's opinion is not your identity. Someone's rejection is not a verdict on your worth. And someone's misunderstanding does not really mean that you have to now spend, the rest of your day trying to prove yourself to them. Okay? But you can care without you actually doing what? Overthinking. You can listen without you, absorbing everything. You can accept feedback without you really letting the feedback to now destroy your confidence for you. Okay? And you can walk away from disrespect without you really carrying the anger that comes from that disrespect to you. Okay? And so you don't have to carry that anger of disrespect everywhere you go, because the goal is not to stop caring about people, but the goal is to stop making yourself to be responsible for everything that other people do to you. Okay? Everything that other people say to you, everything that other people feel about you, or everything that other people really think about you. Because sometimes the peace that you are really looking for is not found in getting everyone else to start treating you differently, but it is rather found in, changing the meaning that you give to what really happens always around you. Okay? So, the next time that you find yourself thinking again that they did this because of me, they did that because of me, please pause and then remember what I am about to tell you right now. And this is it. Take a deep breath and then ask yourself this important question, which is, do I actually know that? Or am I just telling myself a story? You know what that question alone can really save you from? It can save you from so much uncertainty and pain. If this video really gave you a perspective that you have not considered before, then consider subscribing to Simplicity in Peak channel, because I don't want this channel to simply give you motivation that disappears when the video actually ends. But I really want these conversations to give you something that you can actually carry into your real life, as something that you can always remember whenever that you are having a difficult day. Okay? Something that makes you to stop and then think, wait, maybe I can look at this differently. I love to hear from you in the comment section of this video. And what is the thing I want to hear from you for? Is this question that you answer? What is that thing that you used to take personally before, but because of the knowledge that you have gotten from this very video that you have watched, okay, you now realize that probably it wasn't about you? Please kindly share with us your experience freely. Mind you, in answering this question, there is no perfect answer to it, because your own experience may be completely different from someone else's experience, okay? And someone that is actually reading your comments may now realize that they are not alone in whatever they are experiencing. Thank you so much for watching this video, and you should keep on growing. You should keep on learning without stopping, and always remember that you don't have to take everything personally just because it happened personally to you. Because sometimes the truth is this: protecting your peace really begins with you actually questioning the story that you told yourself about what really happened. I will see you again in my next video. I love you. Take good care of yourself, okay?